You get questions from the lefties out there asking about which parts are in my carbine to make them ambi, so just want to talk through it real quick. Nothing too crazy, just some bolt-ons that big time quality of life improvements. The most important one is the safety. So this one's made by Geisley. It's called the Super Configurable Safety Selector. A lot to say. Basically, Radiant Arms makes a similar product. The paddles are easily removable. So all you do, try to get a good angle, but if you just push through the hole in the lever to that little spot, you push on it with a pin, it relieves the tension on the paddle, and you can just slide the paddle off. So it's easy to select which sides you want the longer or short paddle on. Most of these come with a few different sizes, either 2 long paddles like this, a long one and a short one, or some variation of that. This one I strongly prefer. I like having a long paddle for my thumb, and for the left side of the receiver, I like having the shorter paddle, just because then if I have my finger on the trigger and I'm shooting, it just doesn't get in the way. The reverse of that, it's not the end of the world, but with the longer paddle, it does rub against the inside of my finger when I'm shooting. Just one more spot to get calluses and kind of annoy me. So if possible, I like safeties that do that. I've got a Radiant here, which is the same thing. So shorter side, or shorter paddle on that side, longer paddle on this side. When I received this rifle, it was set up for right-handed. So all I did was just push it on that with a punch, slide it off, and just swap what sides the safeties were on. The next one, probably the most important, is the mag release. This one's made by Troy, and all you do to install it is just push in on the mag release button. The back of this pops out, and then all you do is just unthread it just like you would if you're removing a regular mag catch. Then when you install this one, it's got the little button on it, and when you press the button, it hinges, which releases the magazine. If I've got the sleight of hand perk going that day, this thing can be ran just as fast as a right-handed person running a rifle. It's with just my hand-on fire control, I can get to the button without shifting my grip at all, so I really like that. And it's flush enough that I've never had an issue where I've sat my rifle down on something and the magazine has jostled loose. So that's a big win. Anyway, the button doesn't, I've never had it accidentally activate when I don't want it to. And if you got that sleight of hand perk going, it's just in the right spot, and they're not that expensive. So that's a big upgrade if you're a lefty. The other thing that's probably not necessarily needed, but I like, is this guy. It's a Geisley Maritime bolt catch. With this, it looks just like the regular ping pong style paddle, only it's just extended a little bit. So to lock the bolt open, just a little bit more to put my thumb on when I'm pulling back on the charging handle. And if I want to release it, it's, just a little bit longer, a little bit more to get my hand on to get to that paddle to release the bolt. Sometimes I have to shift my grip just a little bit, so maybe I loosen it up just a tick off to get to the release if I want to hit it that way, but not the end of the world. Definitely easier to use than a regular paddle. The last thing, ambi charging handle. I really like the Radiant stuff. I think when I started using this, it had a different name. Maybe somebody that Radiant bought it from, I'm not sure. But anyway, I've used these for a long time, and I really like them. So if not, the Geisley ambi charging handle is good. BCM makes them. It's just preference. But having an ambi charging handle obviously is going to be quite helpful if you're lefty. The other gun, in the words of Ferris Bueller, this thing is very choice. If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up. This is an ADM gun, but specifically when I talk about the lower. The lower has ambi controls built in. So there's the mag release, which is just a little bit closer to my trigger finger. And I hit this one on, as opposed to on the other gun, the Troy, maybe using more of the whirl of my fingerprint. Instead, I'm kind of using, right by where the kind of the joint is, or the bottom part of the pad. So it's a little bit closer, but just as fast, just as easy to hit too. I've never had an issue accidentally hitting it or not hitting it when I'm meaning to. The bottom part of the paddle is short, just like the way the factory one is. That's easy enough to get to. And then just a little bit bigger button for the top of the ping pong paddle. Same deal. I can easily get to this one while I'm got a full grip on the gun. Maybe I shift my grip just slightly to get to it, but not the end of the world. This one came with a Radiant Arms charging handle also. Anyway, that's pretty much it. But as far as running a sling, I strongly prefer using the QD mount just under the castle nut. This is going to work well whether you're right or left-handed. Some rails have QD mounts built into them. This one, the ADM, came with one of these little removable ones that mount on the Picatinny rail, so all I did was just mount it so it's sticking off on the right side of the gun. BCM comes with these little M-lock QD mounts. All I did was put that on the right side of the rail also. And it's got a QD back under the castle nut. So anyway, none of this stuff is that expensive, but it just makes quality of life a little bit better. Especially the mag release is very nice to have, and the safety. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, drop them below.